physique looks, depending on the date that you compete, you may be second in the world, you may be third in the world. And why it's important not to have those kind of external, because you can do surveys and you can ask.
Got the goods. It is a refeed day. It is 600 grams of carbs. I have been on my lowest days for over a week and a half now. Weight has dropped to the lowest it has ever been this morning, and now we get to put the food in. I cannot wait for this. So let's head home and I'm going to take you through my full refeed day. Let's do it. Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's been a couple of weeks since I've done a vlog, but we are back, and like I said, we are going to be doing a full 600 grams of carbs refeed day. Now, just to give you a quick update on where I am at, I am about 4.5 weeks out from the photo shoot that I've been dieting for now for the last 22 or 3 weeks. Feels like forever, but we are not far away. And as of the last few mornings, my weight is sitting the lowest that it has been throughout this entire process. So we're now sitting on the verge of around 20 kilos down in total. Food has been low for the past week and a half, or certainly the lowest it's been since we started. And now it is time to fill out and trial some carb ups to see how my body responds, see how my physique responds, and see how we're looking with a few days of higher carbs. So we're not just doing one day, we're doing today at 600 grams of carbs, we're doing tomorrow at 500 grams of carbs, and we're going to do the day after at 400 grams of carbs, giving us back-to-back refeed days to really give my body enough time to properly take those carbs on board and help us fill out in the areas that I'm wanting to fill out. So that is what I'm going to show you today, exactly how I go through my refeed day. All the food that I have, all the macros, how it looks. But as ever, before we jump into all that, if you enjoy these videos, guys, do me a huge favor, because it takes me hours to film and edit this. It's a full day out of my week. Do me a favor and go and like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it onto the platforms, comment below, whatever it is, just engage with the page in some way, and that rhymes, because it genuinely does help know that these are the kind of things that you wanted to see. This is the kind of information that you find useful. So go and do that, and then we'll jump into the refeed. Well, we take refeed days for one of two reasons. It's either to give ourselves a bit of a break from dieting through the week, reduce that dieting fatigue, reduce our hunger, increase our energy, and help us feel a little bit fuller. They can be useful when you first start out your diet to have 1 or 2 times a week to give you something to push towards through the week, knowing that you've got an easier day to come with a little bit more food. Or the second reason we take them, which is the reason why we're doing it today, is using them towards the back end of a diet when you've started to get really lean, you've depleted the majority of your muscle glycogen, you've run down your body fat really, really low, and you're now wanting to fill your muscles back out with carbohydrates and glycogen and water to see how you're looking at this leaner body fat percentage with more carbs in you and your muscles looking a bit fuller. So it's essentially trying to make you look as big as possible while staying as lean as possible. And that is what we're trialing today. That is how we're doing the refeed today. But there are some common mistakes that people make when it comes to refeed days. What a refeed day is not is a reason just to eat whatever the hell you want and try and make it fit your macros. Refeed days need to be structured. The purpose of these is to reduce hunger, to increase energy, to increase fullness, and you're only going to do that by eating the right foods. What you'll notice throughout today is that the actual foods that I'm eating, the meals that I'm eating, are pretty much the same that I always eat. I'm just eating them in higher quantities. I'm basically just taking the carbohydrate sources that I have anyway, and I'm doubling up on them, or in some instances, tripling up on them. So you'll notice that the majority of my carbohydrates for this refeed day are pretty much going to just come from rice, oats, fruit, bagels, bread, jam, cereal, and that's it. Some of those things I've not had for a long time in the diet because I've not had the carbs to do it, but the majority of those things I've been having day to day anyway. We're just going to be having more of them today because I know that they digest well, they're not going to cause me to bloat. So that's what we're going to be aiming to do with this refeed day. And that's what you just caught me doing with the shopping, was buying a couple of bits like bread and blueberries and jam that I didn't have in the fridge, that in usual fashion, I forgot that I was filming today and I needed to go out and get them first thing. Now, I won't lie to you, I've already had meal one. I've already had my breakfast this morning. I had that just after I'd walked the dog at about 7:30 this morning. It is currently about 9 a.m. It was pitch black. I was starving. I've been on low food for a week and a half. There was no chance I was gonna wait to have that first meal, but I did film it. So what I had this morning was, shock horror, my bowl of protein oats. Now proteins come down a little bit just to help with digestion and just to make room for more carbohydrates. I had 100 grams of oats, 25 grams of protein powder, I had 75 grams of raspberries, I had 50 grams of strawberries, and I had about 50 grams of clementine with 10 grams of dark chocolate and a sprinkle of salt and some cinnamon. For that first meal, we had about 81 grams of carbs, 35 grams of protein in there, 15 grams of fat. It's a pretty good start to the day, making a nice dent into that 600-gram carb target. So what we're going to do now is a little bit of work. I'm going to have a snack, which is probably going to be some toast and jam, which I've not had for about 6 months and I cannot wait for. And then we're going to head down to the gym to get an upper body session done and try to help drive these carbohydrates into the areas that we're wanting to do: shoulders, chest, arms, that kind of thing. So I'm going to get some work done and I will see you for the next snack before we go to the gym. Okay, so it's about 10 a.m. and we have got a quick, see that? Pre-gym snack, which is literally 2 slices of toast and about 30 grams of jam, so 15 grams on each slice. We've got about 65 grams of carbs here and about 3 or 4 grams of protein and about 2 grams of fat, something like that. So I'm gonna have this now, I'm gonna give it about 15-20 minutes to digest, finish up a little bit of work, and then we are gonna head over to the gym. Cannot wait for this. Okay, so that is upper done. What we have got here is a post-workout meal. It's the same post-workout I always have, which is basically just some chocolate rice-based cereal with a handful of strawberries, or 100 grams of strawberries on top. And I'm just putting over the top of that some protein powder with some semi-skimmed milk. I normally do have water, but given that I've got the extra food today, I have gone in with semi-skimmed milk because it's a little bit thicker, a bit nicer. The protein powder is the chocolate pistachio from Perform Whey. Now, normally, Perform Whey flavors are, in my opinion, the best flavors you can get. That one isn't amazing, but I've got a full tub of it, so we've got to get through it. In this bowl itself, we've got about 35 grams of protein, we've got just under 100 grams of carbohydrates, and there's about 10 grams of fat. So quite a big chunk, again, onto the 600-gram refeed, but we want to be putting a lot of the carbohydrates around the training window. I tend to like going in with something like this for post-workout just because the rice-based cereal is very easy to digest, so it doesn't sit too heavy on me. It gets into my system a bit quicker. With the combination of fruit and the fructose that's in that, that tends to get into your cells and muscles a little bit quicker than glucose can. Fructose is transported a little bit faster, so it just helps with a bit of a quicker uptake of sugar and glycogen into the muscles. But to be honest with you, more than anything, I just enjoy it, so that's the reason I have it. So I'm gonna go have this, then I'm back on with a little bit of editing, a couple of client programs to do, and then I will see you back here for meal number 3. Okay, so meal number 3 is basically lunch. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I've just finished up some editing and we are basically going to be having chicken, rice and rice cakes, which might sound like one of the most boring meals in the world. We want something nice and simple that's going to be easy to eat, that's going to digest well, and hopefully is going to be stored quicker than if we've got loads of different sources of carbohydrates coming in, loads of different processed foods that might upset digestion. So chicken, rice and some rice cakes. There are some seasonings on there, so I usually add some paprika, some garlic, black pepper and some coriander just to my meals to give it a bit of taste, and a little bit of sauce on the side as well, which is just the no added sugar or salt tomato ketchup. So for meal 3, we are looking at about 35 grams of protein, again, similar to post-workout. We're looking at about 116 grams of carbohydrates, and we're looking at about 3 or 4 grams of fat. We have literally got 100 grams of chicken breast, 100 grams of raw weight basmati rice boiled in the pan, and 4 salt and vinegar Snacker Jacks, which if you've watched the channel before, you will know by this point are my absolute favorite and have saved me throughout this entire prep. So we're gonna go have meal 3, get this downers, and then we'll probably have a bit of a mid-afternoon carbohydrate based snack before we come back again for the evening meal, which, spoiler alert, is probably gonna be something similar. So I'm gonna go have this and then I will see you after that. Okay, so that is all my client programming and captions and reels and edits and stuff done for now. So I'm just breaking off for a little mid-afternoon snack, and we are literally gonna go again for some toast and jam. I was gonna try and get some oats in, but we're trying to keep fiber down a little bit, like I said earlier on, and that does drive it up a touch. I might have some space for them later on in the evening for my pre-bed meal, because I was gonna have some yogurt in there, but that was driving my protein up too high. So the difficulty with high carb days are that when your carbs go up and your protein comes down, and you account for your protein from all sources, not just from animal or fish-based sources, it does drive protein up quite quickly. So you do have to be a little bit methodical about where you're pulling protein from. So the yogurt will probably come out, and we'll probably put some oats in, so it's slightly lower in protein, slightly higher in carbohydrates. In here, we've just got a little bit extra jam because I've got a few more carbs left. So we've got about 70 grams of carbohydrates in total for this. And again, a couple of grams of protein, a couple of grams of fats, nothing major. So I'm gonna have this, and then I'm on with editing the latest episode of the podcast. And then we're gonna go into the evening meal, and then one more snack before bed, which should take us up to our total of 600 grams of carbs for today. So why your tracking isn't working?
Correct. I'm Jake.
Meal number 4. Evening meal, it's about 7 p.m-ish now. Work's all done. The podcast editing is done. Time to relax. We're gonna have this, chill out, watch a little bit of TV, make sure everything's planned ahead and ready to go tomorrow. All we have got here is 75 grams of basmati rice. We've got 2 more rice cakes, a very small handful of greens, and then I've got 2 bacon medallions, and I've got 30 grams of roast turkey with the fat cut off. So very lean protein sources, very easy to digest, meaning that all being well, we'll wake up looking a little bit fuller, looking a little bit tighter, which is the look that we are going for. In terms of the macros on the plate, we have got about 25 grams of protein. So like I said, not loads of protein, but just enough to get us over that protein threshold that we want with each meal. We've got about 80 grams of carbohydrates again, so much higher on carbs, and 6 grams of fats, so low in fats, which has pretty much been the theme of the day. This is meal number 4. I'm gonna have this, chill out for about an hour, then I've got meal number 5 to finish the day off, or the pre-bed meal to finish the day off, which I'm gonna go through with you, and then that is the whole refeed day ticked off. So I'm gonna go and get this before it gets cold. And this is it. This is meal number 4, I think, or 5, snack number 3. Whatever you want to call it, this is like the last thing of the day, pre-bed snack. I normally have this about an hour before I go to bed, and normally about 45 minutes to an hour after I've had my tea as well. So this is the last thing that we're gonna have. We've actually managed to work some oats into this. I've pulled out the yogurt, put some oats in there, probably a little bit easier on my digestion. I do digest oats better than yogurt, and again, at the minute, the goal is to maximize carbs, minimize digestive stress. We've got 75 grams of oats mixed in with some cinnamon for a bit of flavor. I've got 10 grams or 1 square of 90% dark chocolate on top, and then we've got 75 grams of grapes, we've got 50 grams of sliced banana, and we've got 100 grams of frozen blueberries, which I got from Tesco's today, which I haven't had before, and they look awful. Like, I won't be getting them again, but it might taste okay, so we'll find out. And a little bit of salt on top as well. So this is the final meal. In terms of totals, we've got about 14 grams of protein, so under the threshold for what you would want in protein per meal. But again, I'm having this relatively close to my evening meal, so the protein intake all sort of merges into one because I'll still be digesting the previous meal. There's 80 grams of carbs in this to cap the day off, and there's about 11 grams of fat. So this is how we're finishing the day. One of my favorite things. I'm gonna go into the room and we're gonna carry on watching Stranger Things whilst I have this, give it an hour, chill out, and then go to bed. And that is it. That is 600 grams of carbs. That is my refeed day. And like I said at the start, there's nothing crazy in there. There's nothing overly exciting, to be honest with you. It's just very simple, straightforward carbohydrate sources to help maximize the amount of carbs I can take in and minimize the amount of digestive stress. So after all that and all those meals, we have ended up on about 158 grams of protein, 600 grams of carbs on the dot, and 48 grams of fat. So we're coming in at 2 grams of protein under the target and 2 grams of fat under the target. That's pretty much bang on accurate. We're not going to lose any sleep over 2 grams either way. And that's it. That's 600 grams of carbs. The plan tomorrow is to get up, do some early morning pictures, see how it's affected physique, and then that will dictate whether we need to run the same again tomorrow or adjust the amount slightly to either fill out more or reduce the amount that we've already filled out by. And that is simply how it is done. That's how you do a refeed. That's what they're for. Guys, as ever, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget, please like and subscribe to the channel. It genuinely does help me out. And the channel has been growing really, really well now over the past few months, and I want to keep that going. And if you found that video super useful and you now want to know the 5 best ways to track your physique progress, then click the video up here and it'll take you straight to that. Apart from that, guys, have a great evening and I will speak to you in the next video.